Hello Athens, I'm meteorologist Jamie Giles here with your Friday evening weather report, and it's a special edition because we don't usually do Friday evening weather reports. That's because this weekend is not going to be usual in the slightest. Freezing rain Saturday night through Sunday, and this will result in ice accumulation. A lot of ice accumulation. It doesn't take much ice at all to cause problems, like potential power outages. This is really a problem in the South in particular because a lot of people use the electrical power grid for heat. So if you're one of those people and the power goes out, suddenly you don't have heat. So make sure that you are prepared for this thing. For that and the other reasons I'm going to be talking about, I want you to make sure that you have enough supplies to where you can effectively shelter in place for several days straight, potentially without power. One other thing, if you do indeed lose power, make sure if you have a backup generator and you decide to utilize it, that you keep it outdoors. I know with everything else I'm going to say, many people are probably going to think, wow, going outside sounds terrible. It won't be fun. I don't recommend it unless you absolutely need to. But if you do decide to use a generator, please keep it outside. You can easily get monoxide poisoning if you keep that thing indoors. It is very dangerous. Do not operate a generator indoors. Also, bring inside pets. Bring indoor outside plants or anything else, okay? Do not keep that stuff outside. Another threat that we got to talk about is down trees. A tree could fall on a road, tree could fall in the middle of who knows where, tree could also fall on a house. This occurs with ice. It weighs down on power lines, that can cause power outages. It can also weigh down trees, and they can fall. So be very aware of that. And then hazardous travel. Do not drive at least through Monday. That I want to go ahead and get right off the bat. I do not recommend you travel, period, through Monday at all, unless absolutely necessary. If you do, make sure you bring supplies with you in case you get stranded on the side of the road or something. And on top of all this, it's also going to be bitterly cold next week. And what are we under right now? An ice storm warning, because as I already mentioned, we're expecting freezing rain. That brings ice. We are expecting over a quarter inch of ice in Athens. And really a lot of northeastern Georgia in particular is going to be blasted with this. Why? Because of the wedge. That's a big reason why, at least. The wedge is a phenomenon where high pressure builds on the eastern side of the Appalachians, and it blasts northeastern Georgia along with the Carolinas with frigid cold air. This is going to make the situation even worse, and it is highly persistent throughout this entire event. So, going ahead, looking at how all this is going to unfold, well, the thing is, as we go into Saturday afternoon, right, we have some freezing rain coming in. However, the big part of it has not arrived yet. I do not want anybody to wake up Saturday morning, maybe nothing is going on, and then think, oh, this isn't happening. It is, it's just the main thing has not arrived yet. I want you to be prepared tonight because of the possibility of freezing rain moving in earlier than expected, or there being pockets of freezing rain that are out ahead of this, which could develop. You do not want to drive in freezing rain. Again, ice accumulation, roads become slippery. You do not want to drive in this. Again, if you must drive for whatever reason, please bring supplies in case you get stranded. Now, going ahead and looking forward, yeah, it's bad. Northern Georgia gets caked by freezing rain. Tons and tons of ice accumulation. Middle of the night, do not drive in this. Be ready for potential power outages, okay? I know I keep emphasizing that, but this is extremely serious. So yeah, this is going to be the worst of it. And then as we go ahead and we look towards Sunday morning, we can see that the freezing rain is starting to move out northeastern Georgia, right? Starting to move out. However, we then have a line of severe thunderstorms behind this. And going ahead, running through the rest of Sunday, that severe weather does come through, and it leaves behind Georgia, which is just dealing with what just hit it. So let's break it down. Ice accumulation, I've talked a lot. Let's give it some numbers real quick. So 0.6 inches of ice is the reality of what's expected for Athens. 0.9 inches in Gainesville. 0.4 Atlanta. You do not need 0.6, 0.4, any of that. You don't even need a quarter of an inch, like mentioned earlier, to have issues with ice. Everything I mentioned, weighing down power lines, down trees, hazardous travel, none of that requires this amount of ice. This is overkill in terms of ice. So, again, this is extremely dangerous, and you should be ready tonight to shelter in place for the next several days with the possibility of losing power. Let's go ahead and let's look at GFS. Going ahead, looking at it again, 0.6 inches of ice for Athens. GFS is a bit more generous towards Atlanta, 0.1. And overall, my point is, notice how northeastern Georgia in particular is getting caked with ice. This is being supported by the wedge funneling cooler air into our area, making this even worse than it already would be. And again, ice is very dangerous. But let's talk about that potential thunderstorm threat. We're keeping an eye on it, as you would expect. We will keep you up to date. There's a lot of uncertainty as far as what exactly is going to go on with that. And in general, having thunderstorms after an ice storm like this is bizarre. So we'll keep you up to date as far as what exactly occurs here, but this is a possibility that we are currently monitoring. And going ahead, looking at the 7-day forecast. Well, the weekend is awful, as you would expect. The wintry precip is possible throughout Saturday, really gets going overnight into Sunday. Sunday is terrible, possibly severe thunderstorms. And then we have the rest of the week. This is where I want to point out these lows. 9 degrees on Monday, 20 degrees Tuesday. Ice is going to refreeze overnight. There's going to be black ice on the roads. This is not going to be a situation where it is perfectly safe to drive Monday or even Tuesday. Personally, I would not recommend driving until at the earliest Wednesday afternoon, if not Thursday. My personal recommendation, I would not drive. I would say driving is highly ill-advised Tuesday to Wednesday morning, and driving should be avoided unless absolutely necessary, no way around it, through Monday. This is a very dangerous situation. Please take it seriously. I am student meteorologist Jamie Giles. Go Dogs, and stay safe out there.